The flicker of amber light caught in my tear-streaked eyes, and I froze. It was late evening, and the quiet hum of our suburban neighborhood felt surreal against the chaos unfolding before me. Streetlights cast a warm glow over the snow-dusted ground, but the icy wind cut through my threadbare hoodie. All I could hear was the faint crackling of flames in the distance, muffled by the cold. I stood at the edge of the small apartment complex, my breath hitching as I watched smoke billow into the night sky. The acrid scent of burning wood filled my lungs, making my throat raw. Around me, residents spilled into the street, clutching each other in shock and disbelief. The fire alarms wailed, and their cries merged with panic shouts. But my focus wasn't on the crowd. My eyes were locked on a third-floor window where a faint shadow flickered against the raging flames. Then I heard a child's cry, faint but undeniable. My chest tightened, and for a moment I couldn't breathe. The heat radiated even from where I stood, searing my skin and making the air thick and oppressive. My thoughts raced. Is someone still in there? Can I do something? My heart pounded, a deafening rhythm of fear and resolve. You're not thinking about doing something crazy, are you? Someone called out nearby, their voice tinged with disbelief. I didn't respond. Instead, I whispered to myself, if I don't, who will? My life has always been quiet, a blur of routine and solitude. After losing my parents in a car accident years ago, I lived with my grandmother. I've never been brave, never been the one to stand out or take risks. But as I stood there, a new voice stirred inside me. You've waited your whole life for a moment to matter. This is it. Someone's still up there. I overheard a voice shout from the crowd. The firefighters won't make it in time. Those words gripped me, pulling me forward. Mia! My best friend Elena grabbed my arm, her eyes wide with panic. What are you doing? You can't go in there. Elena, I said, shaking her hand off. There's a kid up there. I can't just stand here. And you think you can do something? She shouted back, her voice cracking. You don't have to prove anything. No one will blame you for staying safe. Her words made me hesitate for a second. But then I heard it again, a small, desperate cry cutting through the night. That sound made the choice for me. For once in my life, I said, my voice firm, I do. Before she could stop me, I was sprinting toward the entrance. The heat hit me like a wall the second I stepped inside. Smoke clung to every surface, curling and twisting in the dim, flickering emergency lights. I pulled my hoodie over my mouth, coughing as I tried to block out the acrid air. Third floor, I muttered to myself, my voice trembling. You can do this. As I climbed the stairs, the sound of creaking wood and roaring flames grew louder. On the second floor, a burst of fire sent debris crashing down in front of me. I froze, panic clawing at my chest. But then I heard my grandmother's voice in my head. Fear is just a feeling. It doesn't own you unless you let it. With a shaky breath, I leapt over the debris. I landed hard but pushed forward, my resolve hardening with every step. When I reached the third floor, I followed the faint cries to a partially open door. Smoke poured out, and flames crawled across the ceiling. Mama, a small voice whimpered. Squinting through the haze, I spotted her, a girl no older than 6, clutching a stuffed animal in the corner. I dropped to my knees to avoid the worst of the smoke and crawled toward her. Hey, hey, I called out, keeping my voice calm despite the panic rising in me. I'm here to help. She looked at me, her wide eyes brimming with tears. I can't find my mom, she sobbed. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to focus. We're gonna find her? Okay. But first, we need to get out of here. Just as I scooped her up, a deafening crack echoed above us. A section of the ceiling collapsed, blocking our path to the door. I looked around frantically and spotted a window. The glass was cracked, and beyond it, a fire truck ladder was just a few feet away. We're taking a shortcut, I told her, trying to sound braver than I felt. Balancing her in one arm, I struggled to open the window. The icy air hit me like a shock, but I didn't stop. With trembling hands, I climbed onto the ledge. It's okay to be scared, I whispered to her, even as my own fear threatened to consume me. But we're going to be brave together. The wind howled as I edged toward the ladder. My foot slipped and my stomach lurched, but I tightened my grip on the child and lunged forward. My hand caught the rung, and with every ounce of strength, I pulled us onto the ladder. The descent felt endless. The cheers of the crowd below blurred into background noise until my feet finally touched the ground. Paramedics rushed forward, taking the girl from my arms. I stood there, trembling as relief and disbelief washed over me. For so long, I doubted myself. But in that moment, I knew bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing to act despite the fear. As the little girl turned back and gave me a shy wave, I felt something shift inside me, a sense of purpose I hadn't known I was searching for. And as I walked away from the chaos, the sunlight breaking through the smoky sky, I knew one thing for certain: I'd never be the same again.